Welcome to the Northern Light Webcasting Network. We bring you Western Wisconsin sports via the internet. Stick around and get to know us.
Northern Light Webcasting Network, in conjunction with Colfax High School, presents Viking Pregame. A look at today's Colfax Viking girls game. And now, Viking Pregame.
Good evening and welcome to Colfax High School, where tonight we have a non-conference matchup for you as the Colfax Viking girls, with a record of 14 wins and 2 losses, will take on the St. Croix Central Panthers from the Middle Border Conference, who are sporting a 1-16 record thus far this season. Rick Olson here, and soon I'll be joined by Dan Petchow as we're getting ready to bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Coming up in this edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the St. Croix Central Panthers and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Doucette's perspective on tonight's game in Coach's Corner. Following that, we'll bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time for some high school girls basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're listening to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Did you know that some vaccines prevent cancer? I'm Dr. Bill Schaffner of the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, and I want to talk to you about a vaccine that protects against the most common cause of liver cancer, the hepatitis B vaccine. Hepatitis B virus can stay silent in the body for decades before symptoms develop. Many adults need vaccination, including those up to age 59 with diabetes. To learn more, visit adultvaccination.org. That's adultvaccination.org.
Rick Olson back here at Colfax High School, where Dan Petchow and I are getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's girls' non-conference basketball game between the St. Croix Central Panthers, with a record of 1-16 this season, and the Dunn St. Croix Conference leading Colfax Vikings, who have a 10-0 conference record and are 14-2 overall. Now, last Friday, the Vikings worked hard and pulled away from the Glenwood City Hilltoppers by a score of 74-37. The Vikings were led in scoring by senior center Rachel Charlo, who scored 17 points. And in addition to Charlo, the other leading scorers were senior Camry Meredith, who added 11, and Madison Barstead, who chipped in 9. Altogether, the Vikings had 11 players who contributed to the scoring. At 16 games into the season, the leading scorers for the Vikings are Charlo and Meredith, who are averaging just over 13 points per game each. And senior Taylor Irwin is contributing 7.5 points per game. In addition, Madison Barstead and Addison Olson are adding nearly 4 points each per game. The top rebounders for the Vikings are Meredith with over 9 boards per game, and Charlo adds nearly 8 per game. St. Croix Central comes into tonight's game with an overall record of 1 win and 16 losses, following their 66-42 loss to the Middle Border Conference leading Prescott. And that was last Friday evening. Unfortunately, we don't have any numbers from that game, but from the statistics we've been able to round up, it appears as though the leading scorer for the Panthers is senior Morgan Seiler, who's averaging almost 13 points per game. The Panthers last Tuesday got their first win of the season with a 45-32 victory over Osceola. But don't let their record fool you. They've played some good games against some pretty tough opponents. Now, they lost a tight game against the Elkmont Mounders back on January 7th and nearly knocked off Dunn St. Croix Conference second-place team Durand Panthers on January 20th before dropping a 1-point decision, 41-40. The Panthers would like nothing better than to gain some respect by knocking off the state's 5th-ranked Division IV team, the Vikings. The Vikings, on the other hand, are hoping to use this game to tune up for a push to get back to the conference championship. So we're looking forward to quite a battle with some exciting high school girls basketball. And we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. But first, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Joe Doucette on Coach's Corner. You're listening to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, what they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again, we're talking with Viking girls head coach Joe Doucette. And coach, last Friday night, your girls had basically took care of business by defeating Glenwood City 74-37. Some quick comments about that game.
Well, I like the way we played second half. We definitely a slow start, and they outworked us there. They really showed some ability to rebound the basketball, and we didn't adjust very good. But I thought maybe halfway through that first half and then the second half, I thought we played well. We moved the ball very well and got a lot of good shots, and and finally started making some shots. I know we were terrible from the three early, and we ended up making a few later.
Now tonight you're playing the St. Croix Central Panthers, who are currently having a pretty rough go of things in the Middle Border Conference. But it should be pointed out, however, that the Panthers are not a team to roll over and play dead. In fact, they played a pretty close game in a losing effort against the Elk Mound Mounders and then lost to Durand by only 1 point, 47-40. Both those teams are right on the heels of the Vikings in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. So what do you know about the Panthers?
Well, I've seen them once, Rick, and they're way better than their record shows. And, to only lose to Durand by 1, they give Elk Mound a great game, and they're better than their record. They've got a lot of tough losses, and again, a well-coached team, and we're just trying to keep getting better, so we don't want to take any steps back. I'll be very surprised if we're not raring and ready to go.
Now, the Vikings are currently riding a 6-game winning streak, and of course, just as things seem to be going well, karma seems to step in and mess things up. So what concern do you have going into tonight's game that the Vikings can work on to make sure that doesn't happen to them?
Again, Rick, I think in all phases, I think we just got to keep getting better, and we have some kids playing at a high level, the Rachel Charlots and the Camrys and Taylor Irwin and a bunch of people. But if everybody can just get a little bit better, we feel real good about the end of the year.
Now, did everybody come out of last Friday night healthy and ready to go tonight?
Well, we lost that Emily Bircham-Schofield, I think, for a little bit. That
that was in the JV game, right?
Yeah, but she, there's a kid who's got a great future, and we projected her to maybe have some minutes for us later. But we'll see how things go. But it looked like she had a pretty good sprained ankle there.
Okay, and hopefully you're going to continue that building process tonight and get ready for that stretch run to a conference championship and then a deep tournament run after that.
Yeah, I sure hope so, Rick. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach Doucette.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Sweet strawberry icing. You're in Goodwill, and just past that vintage denim jacket you spot miniature donut earrings. You lean in. That's the scent of shopping success. Because at Goodwill, every item you buy funds local job training and more. So bring home those donut earrings and bring home so much good to your community. Goodwill. Bring good home. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You've been listening to Viking Pregame, with a look at today's Colfax Viking girls game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Stay tuned. Coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Colfax Viking basketball is on the air. The Northern Light Webcasting Network, in conjunction with Colfax High School, proudly presents today's Girls Colfax Viking game. Join us as the 2019-2020 Vikings strive for success in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. And now, back out for coverage of today's Girls Colfax Vikings game.
Streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Drew Gibson with our national anthem. Welcome back to Colfax High School. Dan Petschow here and Rick Olson here. Ready to bring you tonight's game between the St. Croix Central Panthers and the Colfax Vikings. And let's send it down to the table and get the starting lineups.
Here and Number 20 is senior Corey June. Number 22 is senior Morgan Seiler. Number 23 is sophomore Katie Gustovich. And number 24 is sophomore Sydney Burgess. The Panthers are led by head coach Riley Balls. And now the starting line for your Colfax Vikings.
Well, those starting lineups, once again, for the St. Croix Central Panthers. It was Olson, June, Seiler, Gustovich, and Burgess. And for the Vikings, it's the usual five: Schleisner, Bovey, Meredith, Steinke, and Charlo. And we're just about ready to get things underway. And
yeah,
Dan, we got a team that's kind of desperate here, would like to make something happen tonight.
Yeah. St. Croix Central's got a little work to do, but they're always looking to score, and Colfax is trying to keep their record and stay strong in the conference. Quick shout out to my sister.
Out in Wyoming?
Out in Wyoming.
Hey,
Monica.
The benefits of doing this on the internet. We've had listeners as far away as Germany, and now we're in Wyoming, and holy cow, we're everywhere. The tip goes to Schleisner, feeds it out to Meredith on the right side, and she hits a three. From the right side, Camry Meredith draws first blood for the Vikings, and here come the Panthers down the floor. Full court pressure by the Vikings. Panthers get it into the forecourt. It's to Olson, and then over on the left side, being chased down by a lot of pressure there, and I believe it's Seiler. Yes. And the ball goes out of bounds, and it's going to be St. Croix Central's ball. Burgess to inbound for the Panthers. She gets it into Olson, back out to Burgess. She takes it out between the circles, comes back down the left side, gives it to Olson, and takes it out high. Over to the far side to Seiler. Feeds it down low. That's to Gustovich, and she walked with it before she got a chance to put the shot up, and the ball goes over to the Vikings.
Good defense by Colfax right off the bat there.
Schleissner bringing the ball down the floor. Takes it over to the left side to Steinke, out high to Charlo. Over to the right side to Bovey, feeds it into the lane to Meredith. She puts it back out to Charlo from 3. Shot is no good. Rebound taken away by Gustovich for the Panthers, and they bring it down the floor. It's Seiler with it. Tries to feed it into the lane, and it's taken away by Charlo. Gets it to Schleissner. Schleissner down the floor for the Vikings. Gets it out to Steinke from high, wide, and right. It's the 3. Nothing but the bottom of the net that time. 6-0, Vikings on top. And here come the Panthers back down the floor. Seiler with it. She gets it over to June. Back to Seiler. Seiler comes down the left side. Stops at the baseline. Tries to put up a shot. It's partially blocked and taken away by Charlo. Schleissner with it into the forecourt. They feed it down underneath to Meredith. Gets it out to Charlo. Charlo from 3, and she hit it. 3 threes for the Vikings, and they're up 9-0, and we have a timeout on the floor. 16:11 to go in the first half. Vikings 9 and the Panthers nothing. You're listening to Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
If you have a high-deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Back at Colfax High School, where the St. Croix Central Panthers inbound the ball, and they get pressure in the backcourt, and we're going to get a foul on Schleissner. She kind of ran into Gustovich. That's first team foul on the Vikings, first personal on Schleissner. And the Panthers get it into the forecourt. Ball comes over to the near side to June. Loses control, gets picked up by Gustovich, drives into the lane, looking for somewhere to go with it, tries to feed it back out. It's picked up by Burgess. Burgess out to June. June drives into the lane, but the ball gets taken away by Bovey, and Bovey quickly down the floor. Tries to get it to Schleissner, and ball goes through her hands out of bounds, and it's going to be Central's ball. June to inbound for St. Croix Central. Gets it to Olsen. Brings it down the floor. She goes right through the center circle, and we have a whistle and a foul.
Little bump by Camry.
And that's Camry's first personal. Second team foul on the Vikings. Olsen to inbound it. She gets it into June. June standing right near the center line. Now she comes into the forecourt with it. Gets it over to Olsen, takes it between the circles, over to the left side to June. June tries to gain control and is having a trouble doing it and does not get control. Meredith picks it up off the floor, takes it down the floor and puts it up and in. 11-0, Vikings on top. And here come the Panthers. Vikings still putting on full court pressure. Pass over to Olsen is mishandled, but she picks it up. Gets it over to Seiler. Now they get it into the forecourt to June. Over to Gustovich, and she put in the 3. A 3-pointer for Morgan, or for Katie Gustovich, I guess it was only 2. She was inside the arc. 11-2, Vikings on top. Lob pass into Charlo. She puts a shot up and it goes in, and she got fouled on the way up as well. And we'll check on who the foul is on.
Angelica Olsen, number 5.
I'll check that. I believe it was on Burgess. Foul was on Burgess. And Charlo's at the line. And her shot is good. 14-2, Vikings on top. That was also the first team foul on the Panthers. They lose control of the inbound pass. Bovey picks it up for the Vikings. Out to Charlo at the top of the key. To Steinke. Down underneath to Meredith. Feeds it over to Charlo, who lays it up and in. 16-2, Vikings on top.
More forward pressed by Colfax.
And the Panthers just cannot handle it. Ball's picked up by Steinke as they lose control. Feeds it to Bovey, who lays it up and in. 18-2, Vikings on top. And the inbound pass goes out of bounds, but it was last touched by the Vikings.
Yeah, Colfax is doing a good job of trapping in these corners, and St. Croix Central just doesn't have an answer for it right now.
It to some degree, it almost seems like it's unfair that the Vikings keep that up, but they're going to need that skill come some of these other teams that are coming up, especially when I look at Melrose Mindoro down the line a little bit, and boy, is that going to be a battle. But we've got this one right here, and it's Burgess with the ball down near the baseline, feeds it underneath to Gustovich, puts the shot up, and it doesn't go, but she got fouled. Foul by Charlo. That's Rachel's first personal. Third team foul on the Vikings. Katie Gustovich at the line. First shot is up and good. She's got all the points so far for the Central Panthers. Second shot is on the way, and it's also good. 18-4. Addie brings it down the floor for the Vikings. Gets it over to Barstead on the left. Tries to feed it into the lane to Meredith. She long reached for it. She got it, puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. Trying to get it out of there, and they can't control it. It's picked up by Irwin. Takes it to the house, and two more for the Vikings. 20-4, Vikings on top. Long pass comes into Gustovich. She brings it across the timeline. Feeds it down underneath, and the ball gets tied up underneath there. Pass was intended for Lloyd, but got tied up immediately, and the possession arrow is in favor of the St. Croix Central Panthers. Several substitutions in there. Lloyd gets it in. They feed it out to Coach, over to Lloyd, to Gustovich at the lane, kicks it out to June. June over to Coach, and now, no, check that, Coach has it now. Now June has it. She takes it and gets it out to Gustovich. Fakes, drives towards the lane, puts a shot up, no good. Rebound taken down by Meredith. Gets it to Addie. Addie quickly into the forecourt. And we have a jump ball being called. Pass was a little bit short of Irwin, who had to go down to get it, and I believe it was Lloyd dove in and tied her up. Addie with it between the circles for the Vikings. Over to Irwin on the right side. To Meredith from the top of the key. She hit the three. 23-4. Vikings on top by 19. Long pass comes in to Gustovich, and that was very close to an over and back. They get it to Seiler, back over to Gustovich. Or check that was June they got it to. And June loses control, but it was knocked out of bounds by Meredith. St. Croix Central with it in the forecourt. Lloyd with it, feeds it into the lane, and she tries to drive in. We're going to have a whistle and a foul. Foul's on Charlo. That's her second personal, fourth team foul on the Vikings. Seville Wilson into the lineup, as is Addison Olson, coming in for Meredith and Charlo. Inbound pass to Gustovich. She gets it out to Carlson, who puts the three in off the board. She called the bank, and the bank was open.
The bank was open.
23-7. Vikings on top. Addie has it at the free throw line. Gets it over to Wilson on the left side. Feeds it to Irwin down in the left corner. Drives into the lane. Gets it out to Addie on the right. Addie takes it to the free throw line. To Wilson out near the top of the key. Out to Addison between the circles. To Irwin on the right, to Barstead down on the right baseline. Tries to go up with it. It gets kind of tied up, and now she got fouled. As she got the ball off to Irwin, but she got fouled at the last second there. The foul is going to be on Brinley Coach. So Irwin gets the ball into Addison. Addison tries to put it up off the bottom of the backboard. She got a little too deep that time and tried to go through a lot of traffic to get it, and it was no good. Now we have June trying the layup and gets fouled on the way in. I believe the foul is on Wilson. And that's Seville's first personal, 15th foul on the Vikings. June at the line. Her shot is up and off the front of the iron. No good. Checking in is Seiler for the St. Croix Central Panthers. June's second shot is on the way, and it's off the front of the iron. Wilson gets the rebound, gets it over to Addie, who brings it down the floor. She takes it through the center circle, loses control as she spins, but goes back and gets it. Feeds it underneath to Wilson. Turnaround, tries to lay it up, and no, it doesn't go, but she got fouled on the way up. Some nice moves underneath there by Seville Wilson.
Yeah, she found a couple little moves to get to the block and get off the backboard. Just didn't go.
Foul is on Morgan Seiler for the Central Panthers. Wilson's first shot is no good. Seville Wilson, an 83% free throw shooter, and she made that one. 24-7, 11:15 to go in the first half. Down the floor come the Panthers. They get it into Lloyd. Now they get it over to the right side. They feed it underneath to June. She lays it up, and ball goes out of bounds. It's going to be the Vikings' ball.
Good defense by number 42, Addison Olsen, to get the turnover.
And the Vikings bring it down the floor. Addie Olsen with it. Takes it over to the left side, feeds it out high to Taylor Irwin, puts up the three, and she hit the three. Boy, the Vikings are canning the threes tonight. We're going to need a whole new shelf of those cans. And the ball gets intercepted by Irwin. Gets it over to Addison. Addison feeds it to Irwin down underneath. She lays it up and in. 29-7, and we have a timeout on the floor being called by St. Croix Central. 10:35 to go in the first half. Vikings 29, the St. Croix Central Panthers 7. You are listening to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
In addition to being your hometown newspaper, the Colfax Messenger is also your one-stop shop for all your printing needs. The Messenger provides full in-house design and full-color printing services for copies, business cards, letterheads, envelopes, pamphlets, brochures, books. They can even do posters up to 13 by 30 inches for your events or benefits. Call the Colfax Messenger at 715-265-4646 or visit dewitmedia.com. Northern Light Webcasting Network is proud to present Colfax Viking basketball for the 2019-2020 season. Join us Thursday, February 6th as the Viking girls travel to Mondovi to take on the Buffaloes. Viking pregame begins at 7 o'clock and live play-by-play begins at 7:10 right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow right here at Colfax High School, where the St. Croix Central Panthers inbound it as the Vikings are leading 29-7. Panthers still in the backcourt. Now they get it into the forecourt with June on the dribble. She's at the free throw line, drives into the lane, tries to go up, and we're going to have a whistle and a foul. I believe it's either going to be on Barstead or Addison. Let's see who they get, and it's Barstead. I believe, nope, I'm reading it backwards. It's on Addison. Yeah. They have the same digits. And
yeah,
so
I kind of saw the same thing.
June's first shot is up and good. That's the first foul on Addison, sixth team foul on the Vikings. 29-8, the Vikings on top. June taking her second shot on the way, and it's good. 29-9, Vikings up by 20 with 10:23 to go in the first half. Addie brings it down the floor for the Vikings. She's between the circles, gets it over to the left side to Taylor Irwin. Irwin kicks it out back to Seville Wilson, puts up the three, no good. Rebound chased down, battled for between Barstead and June, and it goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Viking ball. Taylor Irwin to inbound it. Looking for somewhere to go. Gets it into Addison. Addison drives into the lane. Tries to feed it back out to Seville Wilson, but Addison got fouled. Checking to see who they're calling that on. It was on Morgan Seiler. Wholesale substitutions for the Vikings and a couple of subs for the St. Croix Central Panthers. That's the second personal on Seiler, 4th team foul. And the Vikings to inbound it. They feed it into Charlo, who lays it up and in. Central has it in the backcourt. Coming down the floor is Carlson. On the left side, she takes it between the circles. Feeds it over to the right side to Olsen. Drives into the lane. Kicks it out to June, who lays it up, and it goes in. Schleisner to take it down the floor. Feeds it over to Bovey. Now to Harmon. To Meredith. They feed it underneath to Bovey, to Charlo, who lays it up and in. 33-11, the Vikings on top. June with it, feeds it over to Olsen on the high, wide, and left. She's looking for somewhere to go. Now decides to take it herself, takes it into the lane. Shot's partially blocked, and Meredith gets the ball. Gets it to Schleisner, feeds it down to Harmon. Harmon outside on the left side. Gets it out to Schleisner at the top of the key. Puts up the three, no good. Rebound taken down by June. She feeds it down the floor to Carlson. Back to June. High, wide, and right. To Carlson. Dribbles it between the circles over to June. June drives into the lane. Feeds it out to Olsen on the left side, and Olsen walked with it.
Yeah, she was going to shoot, and then she was going to pass, and got in between.
And her feet didn't know what she was doing.
Right.
So Schleisner to bring it down the floor for the Vikings. Right through the center circle, over to the right side to Bovey. Now to Schleisner from three, and it's off the iron, no good. Rebound. Chased down in the corner by Coach. And she gets it to June, who brings it down the floor. June feeds it off to the right side. Burgess has it. Gets it over to Olsen, now out high to June. Drives into the lane. Loses control, ball's loose on the floor, picked up by the Vikings, gets it to Schleisner. Schleisner takes it down into the lane, lays it up, no good, but got fouled on the way in.
Good job by number 10, Morgan Schleisner, to create the contact.
Foul was on Brindley Coach. It's her second personal, 5th team foul. First shot is up and good. And Schleisner with her second shot is on the way. It's also good. 35-11, Vikings on top. June brings it into the forecourt. Gets it over to Olsen, who almost walked again. She takes that long stride and just about drags that foot. But the ball goes out of bounds and the Vikings have it. Schleisner between the circles. Gets it over to Meredith on the left side. She takes it down into the lane. Takes it to the hole. It does not go in. Charlo with the follow-up. It's no good, but she got fouled.
Good job by the two seniors. Cameron Meredith getting to the hole, missing a shot, but Rachel Charlo's right there to pick up the loose change.
Falls on Gostovich. It's her first personal, 6th team foul. Charlo's first shot is up and good. Steinke into the lineup for the Vikings. For Bovey. Both teams will be in the bonus after this. Charlo's second shot is up and good. 37-11. You know, with as many fouls as are being called right now, it's really hard for a team to find its rhythm, too, because there's all these stoppages. Olsen with it for the Panthers. Feeds it out to Burgess, puts up the shot, no good. And the Vikings bring it down the floor. Schleisner with it. Feeds it out to Meredith from three. Off the iron, no good. Rebound. Chased down by the Panthers, and June brings it down the floor. Gets it to Burgess. Burgess out to June. She puts up a long three, and she hit it. Colby June with the 3-pointer. That's 7 points for June. 37-14. Vikings on top. Charlo has it, high, wide, and left. Down to Steinke, back out to Charlo. Over to the other side to Harmon. Harmon feeds it to Schleisner. Gets it out to Meredith. Tries to feed it underneath to Charlo. Gets batted away, but Meredith picks it up. They pass it over to Steinke. Puts up a 3, no good. Rebound being fought for. Meredith passes it out to Steinke. Steinke to Charlo. Charlo feeds it out to Harmon. Harmon to Schleisner. Schleisner into the lane. Gets it to Charlo, who lays it up and in.
Great ball movement by Colfax right there.
And they never quit on the ball either. That ball was loose on the floor, and they just scrapped for it. 39-14, Vikings on top. Olsen with it. And we have a whistle and a foul as she tried to drive into the lane. I believe that's on Harmon. Yes, it is.
St. Croix Centers just has to calm down, try to get the ball inside, and kind of slow down on their turnovers here to get back in this.
That's Marissa Harmon's first personal. First shot for Olsen is good. 39-15. Angelica Olsen at the line for the Central Panthers. Second shot is on the way, and it's off the iron, no good, and the ball goes out of bounds, and they're going to give it to the Vikings. That one could have gone either way, and I don't think anybody would have argued over it.
Yeah.
Meredith inbounds it to Schleisner. Schleisner takes it across the timeline to Steinke. Out to Harmon, feeds it underneath to Charlo. Charlo with a turnaround, no, gets her own back and tries to go up with it, and we have a whistle and a foul. The foul is going to be on Gostovich. That's her second personal. 7th team foul. Charlo at the line for 2. First one's on the way, rattles around and out. And she's going to try her second. It's on the way, and it's good. 40-15, the Vikings on top. Coming down the floor is Lloyd. Gets it over to Coach. Coach to June, and June gets the ball batted away by Meredith. And it's picked up and given back to Meredith. To Steinke, to Meredith, to Schleisner between the circles. Over to the left side to Harmon. To Steinke, out to Charlo. To Schleisner in the lane to Meredith. Puts up the shot, no good. Rebound chased down by the Panthers. They come down the floor. June with it. Throws it down to Lloyd. Back out high. 3-pointers on the way by Anderson. It's no good. Rebound being fought for, and we have a jump ball being called. Lloyd and Charlo fighting for that jump ball. And again, we have some wholesale substitutions for the Vikings. 5 in, 5 out. So now we have Wilson, Addy, Addison, Irwin, and Barstead into the lineup for the Vikings. June with it. Comes across the timeline. 4:49 to go in the first half. Get it to Burgess. Over onto the right side, and she tries a shot, no good. Rebound taken down by Addison. She brings it down quickly. Tries to go the length, but feeds it over to Barstead. Now out to Addy, to Addison. On the right side to Wilson. To Irwin at the top of the key. Over to Addy on the left. To Addison at the top of the key. Over to Wilson, high, wide, and right, and she put the 3 in. 43-15 for the Vikings. And the Panthers bring it down the floor. June with it. She gets it to Lloyd. It's out high to Coach. Back over to June. Back out to Coach at the top of the key. And Anderson walked with it. They passed it to Anderson. She took an extra step before she could get rid of it on the pass. Carlson checks in for Coach for the Panthers. Addy brings it down the floor for the Vikings. She takes it over to the right side. Now feeds it out high to Wilson. Wilson drives down the left side of the lane, lays it up and in.
Seville Wilson coming on in the second half of the season here.
45-15, Vikings on top. Pass down through the lane. It connects with nobody. June was trying to get it to somebody, but somebody wasn't there. Nobody was. So Addy brings it down the floor for the Vikings. Gets it over to the right side to Irwin. Oh, now over to the left side to Barstead. And the ball goes out of bounds, and last touch by Barstead, and so it'll go over to the Central Panthers. Inbound pass. Gets tapped from Olsen right back over to Lloyd. Now to Carlson, to Anderson. Now down to the baseline to Olsen. Gets it out high to Carlson, puts up a three, no good. Rebound taken down by Barstead, who did a real nice job of blocking out. And they give it to Addy, who brings it down the floor to Irwin on the right side. Looking for somewhere to go, tries to pass it to Addison, can't quite find an open spot. Gets it to Wilson instead, who puts up a three and hits it from the top of the key. 48-15. Seville Wilson has 9 points. Down the floor come the Panthers. It's Olsen over to Lloyd. Lloyd drives into the lane. Kicks it out to Anderson. Anderson puts up a shot, no good. Rebound taken down by Wilson. Wilson quickly down the floor. Feeds it out to Addy. Addy drives into the lane. Now feeds it out to Wilson. Out to Addison. High, wide, and left. Over to Barstead at the top of the key. Now to Wilson driving down to the left baseline. Out to Irwin. Irwin to Addison. Addison, spin move in the lane. Tries to go up, and they're going to say she walked with it.
Must have slid a little bit before the contact.
She put on a nice spin move while she was still dribbling, but evidently when she pulled it up to do the shot, she slid that foot a little bit. But the Panthers have it. Carlson gets it over to Anderson, who puts it up and in from three. 48-18, Vikings up by 30. We're still in the first half, minute 42 to go. Wilson over to Barstead on the right side to Irwin at the free throw line. Feeds it over to Addison on the left. Addison out high to Barstead from the top of the key. No good, and it's going to go out of bounds. Ball goes over to the St. Croix Central Panthers. Irwin comes out, Harmon comes in, and the Panthers come down the floor. Lloyd with it on the right side. Gets it out high to Olsen, and she took a step. So Barstead inbounds it for the Vikings. Addy has it. She takes it down the left side. Feeds it down to Harmon in the left corner. Gets it out high to Wilson. Wilson looking over to the right side to Barstead, who drives into the lane. Feeds it out to Harmon. Harmon over on the left side to Barstead. Drives the left baseline, and she gets tied up. And the possession arrow is in favor of the Vikings. 48-18, under a minute to go. Addison to inbound the ball for the Vikings. Feeds it in to Barstead, who puts up the shot. It's going to count, and she got fouled going up.
Great job.
Yeah, basket count, so it's going to be 50-18, and Barstead's going to the line for one more.
Good job by Maddie Barstead to make her move to the hole, find a spot on the block, and get 2 points. And the and one.
And there it is, the and one, 51-18. 50 seconds remaining in half number one. Coming down the floor is Lloyd. Gets it over to the left side to Carlson. Now to Olsen. To Anderson, all on the left. Back to Olsen down in the left corner. Puts up the three off the top of the backboard. No good. Rebound being taken down. We have a whistle underneath. Harmon went down. She came down on top of Burgess. And they're going to say Burgess committed a foul in the process. So we're going to walk the length of the floor, and Harmon's going to go to the line. That's the third personal on Burgess, 9th team foul on the Central Panthers.
Harmon for a 1-and-1. First one's on the way, and it's good. Harmon's second shot is no good. Rebound being chased down and finally pulled away by Barstead, who puts it up and in. Down the floor come the Panthers. Olsen feeds it out high to June. June gets it back to Olsen. Over to Anderson. Anderson puts up a three, no good. Rebound taken down by Lloyd, who puts up a shot, no good. Addison with a shot down at the other end, no good, and that's the buzzer to end the first half. We're going to have some halftime programming, including the Viking profile, where we're going to learn about Jana Bovey, and then we'll have the Colfax High School report, and all of that is coming up right after this brief timeout. You're listening to Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Oh no.
If your car has had an oh no experience, whether it's from a deer, another vehicle, or any other cause, be sure to see the hardworking people at Morgan's Auto Body in Colfax. Mike Morgan and his staff are ready to get your car right again. The staff at Morgan's Auto Body are ASE and iCar certified technicians, and they can get your car looking like new. That's Morgan's Auto Body in Colfax. Call them at 715-962-3559.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Jana Bovey, a senior at Colfax High School. We'll be chatting with Jana right after this message.
We are the boy band. Your tween made you see. We are the boy band. It's Painful Concert number 3. We are the boy band. We're 5 and 19. We are the boy band. Always singing on key.
You love your kids enough to take them to see their favorite band. Love them enough to make sure they're buckled up in the back seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We're talking right now with Jana Bovey on Viking Profile. And Jana, we know you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
Yes, I participate in track and a bunch of other clubs.
What do you do in track?
I run the 4x1, the 4x2, the 4x4, and I jump and long jump.
And how's that been going for you?
Good. Track's my favorite sport, and I'm really excited for the spring.
And now, when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of experiences have you had doing that?
I started in 3rd grade with the rest of my friends, and all of our dads were coaches, and we all had a lot of fun.
So what's the most important thing you've learned from playing basketball?
It's really a team sport, and to succeed you have to play together, and everybody has to have their own part.
So when not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that you're interested in that keep you occupied?
I hang out with my family and my friends a lot, and I watch a lot of Netflix.
All right, we have some rapid fire questions for you. First of all, pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Pie.
Any particular kind?
Chocolate silk.
Ooh, sounds good. Ford, Chevy, or some other brand?
Some other brand.
Which one?
Honda.
Okay, any particular reason?
I drive a Honda and I really like it.
Your favorite NBA or WNBA team?
Miami Heat.
Okay, and your favorite collegiate basketball team?
Wisconsin Badgers.
Now we're talking with Jana Bovey, and Jana, what are your plans after high school?
I plan to go to Winona State and get a business degree and eventually be a realtor.
How about a shout out to your family?
Hi Mom, hi Dad, hi sisters.
So when people come to Viking games, what number do you wear and what position do you play?
I'm number 12 and I am a guard.
All right, we want to thank Jana Bovey for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next is more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me, I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Time for the Colfax High School Report with an update on what's happening at Colfax High School.
This past week at Colfax High School, both the boys and girls basketball teams were busy with 2 games each. The Viking boys led off the week on Monday the 27th when they rode a 19-point performance by Cole Seahaver to a hard-fought 67-62 victory over the Ellsworth Panthers. The Viking girls got into action when they hosted the Plum City Elmwood Wolves. The Vikings capitalized on 17 points from Rachel Charlo and 11 from Camry Meredith to rack up a 73-36 victory. Then on Thursday the 30th, the Viking boys dropped a heartbreaker to the Elk Mound Mounders 50-48. Finally, on Friday the 31st, the Viking girls traveled to Glenwood City for a conference matchup with the Hilltoppers. Once again, the Vikings utilized 17 points from Rachel Charlo and 11 points from Camry Meredith to post a 74-37 victory. That action leaves the boys with a 6-2 conference record, tied for second place in the Dunn St. Croix Conference. The girls ended the week with a perfect 10-0 record in the Dunn St. Croix and 2-game lead over the Durand Panthers. The Bloomer Colfax wrestlers competed in the Ladysmith duels on Friday. However, we don't have any results from that action. Now, coming up next week, the Viking girls basketball team will have games on Tuesday the 11th when they host Durand and on Friday the 14th at Boyceville. We'll have all the varsity action of both of those games right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, with Viking pregame beginning at 7 o'clock and live play-by-play beginning at 7:10. The Viking boys will host Turtle Lake in a non-conference game on Monday the 10th, and then Mondovi on Thursday the 13th. Both nights, the JV starts at 5:45 and varsity begins at 7:15. The FFA Farm Forum will be on Saturday, February 15th, and the Bloomer Colfax wrestlers will compete in the Regional Wrestling Tournament. That's also on Saturday the 15th. And that's what's happening at Colfax High School. This has been Rick Olson reporting.
You've been listening to the Colfax High School Report with an update on what's happening at Colfax High School. The second half of Colfax Viking basketball is coming up.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
And we're back here at Colfax High School. Rick Olson along with Dan Petchow, and the Vikings have a lead at halftime of 54-18 over the St. Croix Central Panthers, and we're going to have Dan in here in just a minute with the first half statistics, and we'll do that right after this brief timeout. You're listening to Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. The Colfax Messenger has covered the happenings of Colfax and the surrounding area for over 120 years. No one cares for Colfax like the Messenger. Readers get the most current news, sports, and feature stories about the people and places of Colfax. Also, the Messenger is your one-stop source for all your printing needs. To subscribe to the Colfax Messenger or receive a free quote on your printing needs, call the Messenger at 715-265-4646 or visit them online at www.dewitmedia.com.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Bruce Buckley is just what the doctor ordered. In fact, he is the doctor, and he's ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
And we're back here at Colfax High School, and Dan is busy sharpening his pencil and making sure that the tip doesn't wear out. And what do you have for numbers for us, Dan? Well, let's do this with the appropriate decorum. Let's do the St. Croix Central Panthers right away, because you always do the visitors first.
Sure. So, leading scorer for St. Croix Central, their leading scorers are number 20, Colby June with 7, and Katie Gostovich with 7. They have Maddie Anderson with 3 and Angelica Olsen with 1. For the Colfax Vikings.
And what about Madeline? You said Maddie Anderson. What about Carlson? Does she have 3?
Yeah.
According to the scoreboard, she does, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's correct.
Colfax Viking girls, their leading scorer right now is their senior number 44, Rachel Charlotte, with 17 points. Seville Wilson has 9, Cameron Meredith has 8, Maddie Barstead has 5. We have Jana Bovey with 2, Morgan Schleissner with 2, and we got Marissa Harmon with 1. And we got Taylor Irwin with 7. So I say when I do the Colfax roster, they have so many girls that can shoot and score.
It's hard to get them in the right order.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I mean, we're talking always 7, 8, 9, 10 girls that always have points.
Well, and the numbers today at halftime sound like end of the game numbers.
Right.
And I mean, they put up 54 points in the first half, which means the Vikings are shooting the ball and shooting it pretty well. They're also playing incredibly tight defense against the Panthers, and the Panthers just have had absolutely no answer for that. I'll tell you what, we're going to come back with second half action right after this timeout. You're listening to Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
If you have a high-deductible health plan, opening a health savings account at Dairy State Bank will allow you to save tax-free dollars to pay for a long list of health-related services allowed by the IRS. Dairy State Bank HSAs are serviced locally and work like a regular checking account. You can use a debit card or check to pay for expenses and access your account through online or mobile banking. Visit DairyStateBank.com to learn more about HSAs and online or mobile banking. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Okay, we're just getting ready to start things out here in the second half, and the St. Croix Central Panthers have the ball to start the second half, or they will have the ball once the Vikings come out on the floor. Starting 5 out there for the Vikings at Schleissner, Bovey, Meredith, Steinke, and Charlot. And we have, we have June and Seiler. Seiler has the ball. She comes across the timeline, takes it between the circles over to June on the left side. June feeds it down underneath, and the ball gets away underneath. It was intended for Gostovich, but it just got away from her, and out of bounds the Vikings have it. Schleissner bringing it down the floor for the Vikings. Just underway in the second half. Feeds it to the free throw line to Charlot, to Meredith driving down the right side of the lane. She lays it up and in. Seiler with it, taking it down on the left side. Feeds it out to Olsen. Olsen cross-court pass over to Lloyd. And the ball gets knocked away by the Vikings, and Meredith has it. Feeds it over to Schleissner in the forecourt. She gets it to Bovey, high, wide, and right. Now over to Charlot between the circles to Schleissner. Drives down the left side, puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by Olsen for the Panthers. Giving it to June, and now they feed it out to, taking it into the lane is Seiler, who puts it up and in. 56-20, Vikings on top. Bovey with it, feeds it over to Steinke. Steinke at the free throw line, gets it out to Bovey on the left side, tries to put it up, no good, but she gets her own rebound, and it gets taken away from her by June, who brings it down the floor for the Panthers. June dribbled it off her hip that time and got her hand a little far behind, and they said she was turning it over. So the ball gets turned over to the Vikings. Meredith inbounds it. Gets it over to Schleisner, comes across the center circle. Over to Steinke on the right side. Out between the circles to Charlo. To Schleisner on the left. Schleisner at the free throw line now. Gets it over to the right side to Bovey. Bovey out to Schleisner between the circles. Back over to the right side to Bovey. Out between the circles to Charlo. To Schleisner on the left. To Steinke down low on the left. She takes it back up to the free throw line. Turns around, puts it up off the glass. No good. Rebound taken away by Lloyd for the Panthers. Long pass down the floor is intercepted by Schleisner. She comes down the floor looking to go coast to coast. Feeds it out to Bovey. Bovey between the circles. Gets it over to Meredith, who's all alone on the left side, and she put it up and in.
I think Central forgot about Cameron Meredith over here.
There was nobody in the same county that she was in. Lloyd has it on the right side. They get it out to Olsen at the top of the key. Takes it down the left side, and she dragged her foot. She put the brakes on, and then the foot slid. And it's a travel, and the Vikings will have it.
Yeah, she turned around, and there wasn't anybody to pass to, and she dragged her foot a little bit.
Vikings bring it down the floor. Schleisner through the center circle. Feeding it down low to Meredith underneath. She turns around, puts it up and in. Camry Meredith with 15 points on the day. 61-20, Vikings on top by 41. Lloyd takes it into the lane, lays it up and in for the Panthers. And the Vikings bring it back down the floor. 61-22. Schleisner feeding it over to Steinke. Steinke puts up a shot, no good. Rebound, and a ball goes through. And it's going to count. Charlo with the putback, and it bounced. Her shot bounced off the top of the glass and right down through the center of the hole. And she got fouled in the process. I guess when it's going your way, it's going your way.
That's right.
And Charlo's free throw is no good. 63-22, Vikings on top. June brings it down the floor, gets it off to the left side to Lloyd, who puts up a three from high, wide, and left, and she got it. 63-25. Vikings come down the floor with Schleisner. Gets it over to the right side to Meredith. Drives to the free throw line. Gets it over to Charlo. Back out to Schleisner. Schleisner feeds it down low to Meredith. Cross court pass to Bovey. Bovey fakes her shot. Drives into the lane. Puts a shot up. No good. Rebound taken down by June. June brings it down the floor. Pulls up at the top of the key. Now drives into the lane, and they're saying no shot. We have a foul on the floor. Foul is on Meredith. That's her second personal. First team foul on the Vikings this half. Carlson checks into the lineup for the Panthers. Inbound pass this time to Gostovich, and she puts it up and in. Vikings bring it down the floor. Steinke with it on the left side, feeds it into the lane to Charlo. Out high to Schleisner. Schleisner drives on the right side of the lane, lays it up and in.
Good little ball fake there by Morgan to get to the hole and get the two.
Seiler with it. Between the circles for the Panthers. Being harassed there by Schleisner. Gets it over to Lloyd on the right side. Now to June, still on the right side. Drives into the lane. Puts it up, no good. And Charlo chases down the rebound. Gets it over to Schleisner, who comes quickly down the floor. Feeds it back out to Charlo. Back to Schleisner. Schleisner at the free throw line to Meredith. To Charlo down underneath. She puts it up. It's going to count. And she got fouled on her way in. And I'm waiting to see who they called it on. Foul is on Gostovich. It's her fourth personal. Charlo at the line for a +1. It's on the way. It's also good. And 5 in, 5 out for the Vikings. 68-27, Vikings on top. 13:07 to go. Seiler with it. Takes it down the right side, all the way down to the right baseline, guarded there by Addie. Now she feeds it out to Carlson. Carlson over to Seiler. Back out to Lloyd. Then to Carlson. They try to get it to June. She tries to feed it out high, and it gets intercepted by Barstead. Gets it to Addie, who comes through the center circle for the Vikings. To Wilson. Out to Irwin. Irwin at the free throw line. Over to Wilson. Wilson got her hand a little bit far behind that time and got her hand way up over the top of her head. And yeah, it was a carry.
Yeah, she was trying to move to on the baseline there.
And the ball just wasn't ready to go with her.
No.
68-27, Vikings on top. 12:24 to go. They feed it into the lane, but it's intercepted by Wilson. Gets it over to Addison, who gets it over to Addie.
Yeah, she redeemed that one.
Addie comes down across the timeline. They get it out to Addison. Feeds it to Wilson from the top of the key. She hit the three. Seville Wilson with 12 points on the night. 71-27, Vikings on top. Seiler with it at the top of the key for the Panthers. Gets it over to the right side to Carlson. Back to Seiler from the right corner, and she hit it. Three-pointer for Morgan Seiler. Vikings come down the floor. Irwin drives towards the lane, loses the handle on it, and we have a jump ball being called. Seiler tied it up at the same time that Irwin did. Possession arrow in favor of the Vikings. So Irwin to inbound it. Bounce pass comes in to Barstead, and we have another jump ball being called. Barstead couldn't quite find the handle, and it got tied up that time by Seiler. And she's going to inbound it for the Panthers. And Seiler comes across the timeline with it. Feeds it over to the right side to Carlson. Back out high to Coach. Back to Carlson. Drives down the right baseline. No good. Rebound taken down by Barstead. Barstead coming across the timeline. Barstead feeds it out to Irwin. Irwin with a three from the left. No good. Rebound. Battled for underneath, and we have a whistle and a foul. Foul's on the Vikings. It's going to be on Wilson. It's her second personal. Second team foul on the Vikings. Ball gets passed into Coach. Right back to Seiler. For the Panthers, she brings it through the center circle. Drives all the way down to the baseline, got fouled on her way down, and they're going to get Addie with this one.
Colfax still playing tight defense.
But they're only picking them up at the half court now and not full court.
Yeah.
First personal on Addie, third team foul on the Vikings. Seiler with a three-pointer from the top of the key, and she hit it. 71-33, Vikings on top. Addie brings it through the center circle. Addie at the free throw line, gets it out to Addison. Addison tries to drive the lane, puts it up. No, it's just off the glass. And rebound taken down by Seiler. She's on the run. Addie chasing her down, and they're going to get Addison with the body. That was Addison next to her trying to go stride for stride with her, and she was just about ready to reach for the ball, and she got her with the hip. Second personal on Addison. Fourth team foul on the Vikings. Inbound pass gets knocked out of bounds by Irwin. So the Panthers have it again. Burgess to inbound it. Gets it out high to Carlson. Over to Coach. To Lloyd. Lloyd on the left side, high, wide, and left. Out to between the circles to Seiler. Seiler to Coach. Coach takes it over to the left side, gets it over to Lloyd. Lloyd drives into the lane, tries to put up a shot. It's no good, but she got fouled on the way up. And this one's going to be on Wilson, I believe. Yes, foul's on Wilson. That's her third and fifth team foul on the Vikings. First shot by Lloyd is good. And her second shot is on the way. It's also good. 7 points for Lloyd tonight. Addie brings it down the floor. Gets it over to the left side to Irwin, to Wilson. Out to Addie at the top of the key. She puts up the three. It's off the front of the iron. No good. Rebound chased down by Lloyd. She brings it down the floor. Vikings drop back, pick her up at the midcourt line. Lloyd takes it and gives it off to Carlson. Now it's back over to Lloyd. Into the lane to Burgess. Puts up the shot. No good. Rebound taken down by Wilson. Gets it to Addie. Addie quickly down the left side. Gets it back out to Wilson from the top of the key. She hit another three.
I think this is season high so far for
Wilson. I believe so. 15 points on the night for her. Panthers have it in the forecourt. Coach with it. Gets it over to Lloyd. Back out to Olsen at the top of the key. She puts it up from the right side, and it bounces in. 74-37. 9:07 to go in the game. Irwin with it. Spin move, puts up the shot, got fouled on the way in. We've got a whole mess of substitutes waiting to come in.
Nice move by Taylor Irwin down on the baseline.
5 in, 5 out for the Vikings. A couple of in and out for the St. Croix Central Panthers. 74-37. That was the score last Friday night.
That's right. Yeah.
Inbound pass to Charlo. Turns around, puts it up, and got fouled on the way up.
Nice move by Rachel to go right to the hole.
And that foul was on Brinley Coach. It's her third personal, 4th team foul. First shot by Charlo's off the front of the iron, no good. Waiting to do her second. It's on the way. It's also good. Or it is good. 75-37. Vikings on top. 23 points for Rachel Charlo tonight. Panthers bring it down into the forecourt. June with it. Gets it over to Olsen on the left side. Back to June on the right. June kicks it out to Carlson. Now out to the top of the key to Olsen. Olsen drives to the free throw line. Gets it out to Coach. Then over to June, or to Carlson. Check that shot come up way short, and the Vikings come away with it. Schleissner across the timeline. Over to Steinke on the right. Down into the right corner to Bovey. Bovey back out high to Charlo. Back to Bovey. Feeds it in to Schleissner, who was all alone and missed the layup.
Great cut by Morgan.
She did a nice job of doing everything except putting the ball in the hole. We have a whistle and a foul on the shot, and it's not a foul. She walked with it. That was June. She pulled up to take a shot from just inside the three-point on the right side, and yeah, she didn't pull up quite enough. So the Vikings have it in the lane. Turn around, put it up, and it's no good. That was Meredith with the shot, and she's going to go to the line.
One thing Colfax does really good is they find the little holes in the defense, and if they don't get the shot, get the 2 points, they'll definitely get the foul.
And we have mass substitutions again for the Vikings.
First one was good for Camry.
And
second was no good.
And down the floor come the Panthers. Olsen with it at the baseline. Gets it out to June, and June loses the handle, and the Vikings have it. 7:39 to go. Coming down the floor, driving to the hole is Irwin. She puts it up, and it's no good. Quickly down the floor comes Seiler, and she missed the layup, and she didn't quite get it there. The ball got partially deflected, and Addie has it. She's between the circles. Gets it over to Harmon on the right side. Shot goes up. It's no good. Rebound knocked out of bounds off the Vikings. Harmon and Wilson kind of both went after it, and they both kind of knocked it out of bounds, and there was a Panther between them, but she never touched it, and so they get it now. Coming down the floor is June on the right side. Gets it over to Carlson. Tries to feed it to Olsen, but missed. Olsen went in, the ball went out, and the ball went out of bounds. Barstead to inbound it. Gets it over to Addy. It comes across the timeline. To Harmon on the right side. Out high to Wilson. To Irwin. Irwin from 3. Off the iron, no good. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. Quickly to June. She's at the top of the key. Tries to drive the lane. Kicks it out to Carlson. Carlson feeds it over to the left side, and a three-pointer by Olsen. It kind of rattled home, but it went home. 76-40, Vikings on top. Vikings come down the floor. Addy with it, gets it to Wilson. Wilson drives down the left baseline, and we have a whistle and a foul as she went to the hole. So Wilson's going to go to the line for a couple.
You know, good job by St. Croix Central to still in the second half, keep fighting a little bit, moving the ball, getting some shots off.
That was the third foul on Seiler, and the 16th foul. First shot by Seville Wilson is up and good. Second shot on the way, it's also good. 78-40, Vikings on top. Coming down the floor is Lloyd. Feeds it off to Seiler, then to Carlson on the right side. Carlson takes it to the top of the key. Gets it out to Olsen, now out to Seiler from 3, no good. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. June with it, out to Carlson, back to June on the right side. They feed it into the lane, and the ball gets knocked away from Gustovich, but we're going to have a foul on the Vikings. That foul is on Seville Wilson. It's her 4th personal. 6th team foul on the Vikings, so both teams will be in the bonus from here on out. Inbound pass is to Gustovich. Tries to feed it over to Seiler. She's double teamed on the baseline, and we have a foul called. Evidently somebody got her on the arm, and I believe that's going to be number 5 on Seville Wilson. Nope, I take it back. They called it on Irwin, and that's Irwin's first personal. 7th team foul. Seiler at the line. Shot is on the way, it's good. So she'll get the bonus. 78-41. Vikings on top. 5:45 to go in the game. Seiler's second shot is also good. 78-42. Addy brings the ball down the floor for the Vikings. Between the circles. Passes it over to the left side to Wilson. Now to Barstead. Out high to Irwin between the circles. Tries to get it over to Addy. She gets it. To Barstead, to Wilson on the left. Out to between the circles to Harmon. To Irwin. Drives the lane, lays it up, and it's in. That's the first time this year the Vikings have hit 80. 80-42, Vikings on top. That's 9 points for Irwin. And going to the hole, we're going to have a whistle and a foul as Seiler put the layup in. And the foul is on Addy, I believe. Yes, it's her second personal. 8th team foul. Massive substitutions for the Vikings. Seiler's free throw is on the way. It's in and out, no good. Rebound taken down by Bradford for the Vikings. Gets it off to Jasmine Best. Best into the forecourt. Back over to Bradford. Out high to Paulus. Over to Irwin. That's Abby Irwin. Feeding it over to Bovey, and that's Jillian Bovey, not Jana. And Jasmine Best drives into the lane. We have a whistle and a foul. I think it's going to be on Burgess. Yes, and that's the 4th foul on Burgess. And we have 4 in, 4 out for the Panthers. Best is at the line. And her shot is up and in, so she'll get a bonus. Second shot on the way, it's also good. 82-44, Vikings on top. They've been in control from the get-go. Lloyd brings it down the floor. They kick it out high. And now to the top of the key, taking it into the lane is Finholt. Her shot went up and no good, but she was fouled on her way in. So she's at the line for the 1-and-1. Foul was called on Abby Irwin. First personal, 9th team foul. Free throw is up, no good. Rebound taken down by Paulus. Gets it over to Bradford. Now to Best. Out to Paulus between the circles. To Abby Irwin. Oh no, that's Jillian Bovey. Down underneath and kick back out to Best. Best drives into the lane, puts up a shot, rattles around and in. Jasmine Best with a shot. She's got 4 points on the night. Long shot goes in the hole for the Panthers. That was by Carlson from the left side. And Best brings it down the floor for the Vikings. 3:55 to go. Bovey with it. Gets it out high. Shot is off the back of the iron by Bradford. And quickly down the floor comes Carlson. Carlson gets it over to Lloyd, who puts up a three and hits it. 84-50. Vikings come down the floor. Best with it, feeds it over to the right side. Bovey with it. Now to Irwin. Irwin lays it up and in. Abby Irwin, and we have a timeout on the floor. Equipment timeout for a shoe getting tied. Harmon into the lineup for the Vikings, replacing Paulus. And the Panthers take it down the floor. Lloyd has it across the timeline. Hands it off to Finholt. She's looking for somewhere to go after she pulled up the dribble. Now gets it out to Lloyd. Long pass. Finally chased down by Carlson. Carlson over to Osgard. Back to Carlson. To Lloyd. Lloyd high, wide, and left. Looks down into the left corner. To Carlson. To Finholt out high. Back to Carlson from the left side. Way short on that shot, but it was chased down by Lloyd, and the Panthers still have it. Out high with Osgard. Feeds it down underneath, and it's up and in by Anderson. Vikings have it. Long shot goes up by Harmon. No good. Rebound taken down. 2 minutes to go in the game. Lloyd with it. And there's a three. Two. Sorry about that. Yep, you're right. 54. 86-54. Vikings on top. Bradford. Yeah. Bradford with it. Now they get it out to Harmon. Harmon over to Bradford on the right side. Gets it over to Jillian Bovey on the left. She drives into the lane. Feeds it off to Irwin. Irwin puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. 1:22 to go. Lloyd with it. Feeds it down into the corner. The shot is up and no good. Shot was by Carlson. And Vikings have it. Down the floor come the Vikings with Jasmine Best. Gets it over to Irwin, to Bradford. They feed it into the lane to Bovey. Puts it up, no good. Rebound taken down by the Panthers. Lloyd brings it down the floor. Feeds it down underneath. Layup is off the iron, no good. That layup was by Anderson. Best has it for the Vikings. Feeds it to Bradford, lays it up and in. 88-54. 39 seconds to go. Lloyd with it at the top of the key. Feeds it over to the near side to Osgard. Now down into the corner, and it's knocked out of bounds by the Vikings. Paulus into the lineup for the Vikings. And we do have a running clock in this last minute or so. Inbound pass. And the shot goes up and off by Finholt. 7 seconds. And the Vikings are just going to hold the ball. 3, 2, 1, and there's the buzzer. Final score, Vikings 88 and the St. Croix Central Panthers 54 in a game that was really never in doubt. So, Dan was right on where we are in the commercials, and so let's go to that. We're going to have Viking postgame coming up in just a minute, but final score once again, Vikings 88, St. Croix Central Panthers 54. You're listening to Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
What makes Hometown Pharmacy different than the big chains? People. When you walk into Hometown Pharmacy, you'll see friends and neighbors on both sides of the counter.
We come to Hometown Pharmacy because they are also very knowledgeable and helpful.
We may not be on every corner, but chances are we're in your hometown, or we'll be there shortly. And we care about you. Hometown Pharmacy, our family caring for your family.
Stop by Colfax Hometown Pharmacy in downtown Colfax. Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining? Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Dr. Bruce Buckley and his staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
You've been listening to Colfax Viking Basketball, live on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network in conjunction with Colfax High School. Stay tuned, coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I can't believe he found them.
He seems sorry.
We very clearly told him not to look up there.
I'm honestly impressed that he was able to do it.
Right? What, did he balance on that big chair? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I guess he'll just know what his gifts are this year.
I really thought we had hidden them well.
If they can find their presents, they can find a gun.
911, what is your emergency?
Every day, 8 kids and teens are unintentionally killed or injured by loaded and unlocked guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and End Family Fire.
Time now for Viking Postgame, with a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking girls game. And now, Viking Postgame.
And we're back out here at Colfax High School. Coach Doucette has just climbed up here to join us. And Coach, 88-54, it was never really in doubt, but it sure looked like you guys had a chance to work on some things and get quite a bit accomplished there in the first half.
Yeah, I was very impressed. Our top group really came out and just defended, and I mean, we shot the ball well. we didn't want to score that many points, but boy, it just shooting is contagious sometime, and Seville Wilson, but I thought Camry and Rachel, all that first group, and we talked about halftime. Camry and Rachel are diving on the floor. You're two of the best kids in the area, and they're diving for loose balls. That's always a good sign. So
it's a good sign, but it's kind of scary in a game that you have well in hand.
Yeah.
You sure don't want one of them getting hurt in this one.
But that's the way you got to play.
You got to play hard, and But they went out and they did a lot of things right. The pressure was right. Again, St. Croix Central struggling this year. They're having a hard time, but but the girls did a lot of things right. Our girls it was more our girls doing things right than anything.
I agree 100%, and we challenge them to, to come out a non-conference game on a Monday and just continue to improve. And that's, I thought exactly what we did. I thought, we really moved the ball, Rick. I think you've seen that. And we made that extra pass that is very important for us. We chased down some misses, and on the defensive end, we were pretty solid too. And, it gives us some momentum. We got that big game with Mondovi on Thursday, and they're a team that could beat us on any given night. So we want to be ready and healthy and ready to go. So.
Well, maybe I know that after the game on Friday, you told me that you were going to kind of take it easy this week. It was Super Bowl weekend, and you guys were going to go from one game to the next. And we're going to, if you get this kind of result every time you go game to game, maybe that's the strategy you should be using.
Yeah, I don't think so. Don't tell them that. But no, we've talked. We have a lot of good kids. The hard part's getting everybody the minutes they deserve, and it was great tonight. We got to play. God, I don't know how many kids, 16 kids, and. Again, everybody works hard. Everybody deserves a chance. And, I was very impressed with the Rachels, the Camrys, but all the way down the line. I thought a lot of our kids tried hard.
Well, as you can see here, Dan was running out of room in his scorebook to get the names in there.
We don't like score that many points, but
it wasn't even the points. It's just the number of kids that you got to get into the game, and that was always was a good thing. And you're right. The last thing you want to do is embarrass another team. These are high school kids, and that's not what you had in mind. But some nights, it doesn't matter how you put it up, it's going to go through the hole.
Yeah.
And
tonight
you've had
was
plenty.
One of them nights.
And you've had plenty of nights this year where the opposite was true. So
they have I like that 22 and that 20. They got some good kids, and you could see every time in the second half we left somebody open. They made a shot too. So, Coach Ketz does a good job, and but he got us on a night when the ball was really going in for us. So, I think it'll help both teams, I think so.
Well, congratulations.
Yep, thanks much.
88-54, and you are now 15-2 overall this year and building for pretty positive things to happen.
Yep, thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Coach Doucette. We'll have more Viking postgame right after this brief timeout.
Open calendar. What's my schedule looking like?
Next Thursday, you will be caught in an emergency flash flood between Park and First Street.
What? No, that doesn't work. I'm busy then. Decline. Decline.
Floods don't exactly work around your schedule. Disasters don't plan ahead, but you can. It starts with talking to your loved ones about making an emergency plan. So don't wait, communicate. Visit readywisconsin.wi.gov. Brought to you by Ready Wisconsin, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
And we're back here at Colfax High School, and Dan, there ought to be a whole bunch of numbers for you to have for me right now. Let's start again with the Panthers.
Yeah, here's St. Croix Central's scores tonight. They had two girls that led the team, Morgan Seiler, number 22, and Delaney Lloyd. They both had 12 points. Katie Gostovich, she had 9. Madeline Anderson had 5. Angelica Olsen had 6. And Sydney Carlson had 3. For the Colfax Viking girls, their leading scorer tonight was their senior, number 44, Rachel Charlotte, with 23 points. We had Seville Wilson, number 32. She had 17. That was a season high for her. That was a good night for her.
She had a big night from three land.
Yeah.
There was a period of time in there where they'd come down the floor and get it to Wilson at the top of the key, and it was automatic 3.
Yeah, she had 4 threes tonight. And number 14, Carrie Meredith, had 15 points. We had Taylor Irwin with 9. We had Maddie Barstead with 5. We had Jasmine Best and Morgan Schleissner with 4. We had Bailey Bradford with 2. And we had Abby Irwin with 2. So
that should all add up to 88-54, with the Vikings coming out on top. And as we were talking about with Coach, you don't ever want to embarrass a team, but I'll be honest with you, Dan, this one was a little bit difficult to call just because it was so one-sided, so never in doubt. And
the first half, Colfax did a great job hitting their shots. They moved the ball well. They got bunches of turnovers off the Panthers and ran up the score in the first half. I mean, Panthers did put up 54 total, They did make a little run in the second half, but every time that they would make one, Colfax would come down and match it. So.
And to give the Panthers some credit, there have been plenty of nights this season where 54 points against the Vikings would have beaten the Vikings.
Right.
And so,
but when you get 9 points from Seville Wilson, which is or 17 points, that we really haven't seen much of the season, and that is a big part.
And
his team tonight.
The thing that was really good to see is the number of three-pointers the Vikings put up, because there's going to be some games they're going to have to hit those threes.
Right.
And if they've got some people that are starting to find that range and starting to become pretty accurate from that area, that could save them in some games coming up this year.
Yeah, the deeper they get here in the year, and then they're going to start seeing some teams that are putting up some decent points, and they're going to have to kind of keep their game up.
So the Vikings got to work on a lot of things, got to polish up a lot of things. Now they're ready for that stretch run at the end of the season. And it all starts on Thursday night when we travel down to Mondovi and take on the Buffaloes. And as Coach Doucette said, that's a team that could beat the Vikings if they're not on their game and ready to play. So I guess that's the next time we get together is Thursday evening from down there in your old stomping grounds, Mondovi.
Yeah, Buffalo County.
And, you're not down on that river anymore, but...
yeah, those are some good times in Mondovi.
But, and hopefully we have some good times in Mondovi on Thursday night when we go down and take on the Buffaloes. So for Dan Petchow, this is Rick Olson. You've been listening to Viking Postgame. That final score, once again, Vikings 88 and the St. Croix Central Panthers 54. You've been listening to Viking Postgame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Visit readywisconsin.wi.gov and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by Ready Wisconsin, FEMA, and the Ad Council.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking girls game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Northern Light Webcasting Network is proud to present Colfax Viking basketball for the 2019-2020 season. Join us Thursday, February 6th as the Viking girls travel to Mondovi to take on the Buffaloes. Viking pregame begins at 7 o'clock and live play-by-play begins at 7:10 right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network.